Hey guys, welcome back. It's been a while for us in the studio. I know these videos are back to back for you guys, but I'm so excited to be back. Are you excited?
So excited. I even
fun.
got new hair for the occasion.
You did? I
It's
forgot.
dark.
I like
yeah,
it.
Thanks.
Looks so good.
You started with new hair and
I did.
I have new hair.
And now I need new hair again. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. If you're new here, welcome to Whoa Baby. I'm Liesl. I've got a 2-year-old.
I'm Brittany. I have an almost 8-month-old, and honestly, I'm struggling today. So
We all are. There's two of us.
maybe you are too, but this is what today is. We were just talking about how we were having meltdowns literally yesterday. So the fact that we're smiling and that's the win for the day. So welcome. Thanks for being here.
We're going to chat stay-at-home moms today, as you can see in the title. We are both pretty much exclusively, I would say, a stay-at-home mom. Even though, we do other things, I would say
that's our biggest job,
Yeah,
for sure.
Day in, day out, we're at home with our babies.
Yep.
So, we always start with peaks and valleys. Let's just get the ball rolling.
Yeah.
Let's start with valleys.
I think it's good to start with valleys.
What was your valley for the day or week?
Well, like I kind of said a second ago, I just had a full breakdown. And it's not anything specific, but obviously right now, you guys, the world is still crazy. I would almost argue crazier than it has been.
Yeah.
And so sometimes there's just that anxiety and that uncertainness for the future. And there are some days, all of you probably know that my faith in Jesus is what gets me through everything. However, I'm still a human being and I'm not Jesus. So I have those moments when I'm
it gets
explicit,
to you.
What is going on? It just gets me. I feel like I'm going to break. I feel like I'm going to snap. So my valley basically was I had a moment one night where I was just everything compounded on each other of for the future, things 10 years down the line that I don't know. But then it was okay, I'd reel myself back in and be hey, 10 years, you're going to be fine. And I can talk myself out of that. But when I don't know what's going to happen, even tomorrow, that's when I'm what? And I think that's the thing too, is I like to plan and I like to have a vision. I like to be aiming towards something pretty specific. And lately I'm I don't know what I'm aiming at. And that's really, really hard for me.
And also when you throw kids into the mix, it gets a lot more difficult to
It does.
I feel I already have a hard time making decisions, but then it's not just me that I'm worried about.
100%.
It's not even just
100%.
me and my husband, because we can
you can pivot super easily and be spontaneous. And I'm we can have a certain quality of life. Kellen and I are very blessed, but we talk about it all the time. We're wow, things in our life went really south. It was just you and I, completely different scenario. But then you add in a baby.
And it's just
it's whoa. So that was my valley. It was just one of those super anxious low points. It did end on a high. I had a very long, good cry. This full disclosure was last night. So if I'm puffy and look a little what's wrong with her? She looks tired. That's why. But I got in a bath, which was great. And I just cried. I added the water level rose a few inches from my tears. But I feel great now.
Speaking of bath and tears, that's my valley.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, for you or Zachariah?
For Zachariah. Well, it's for us because it's real stressful. Lately, he's never loved the bath. He hated it when he was a newborn, and then he just kind of tolerated it.
Mm-hmm.
And we do all the things we do, bubble bath, toys, bath paints, everything
to make it fun.
To make it fun. But recently, it's been he's a newborn again, and he just screams.
Except he's stronger and bigger than a newborn, so I'm sure it's harder to.
Yeah, we're not enjoying bath. We're not just taking our time. It's literally put him in, hose him off, and get out as soon as possible. But it's just been hard because we go into it knowing that it's going to be rough. And I don't know, if you guys have any suggestions onto how, I don't even care if they're fun at this point, but just so I can shampoo his hair and condition it. And I get it. I remember my younger sisters hating having their hair combed, but he just doesn't even like being in the bath. So
is it that he feels contained? Because he's a free spirit. He likes to just What if you literally did pull out the hose and chase him with it? I feel like he would almost be like, this is a game. But
I mean,
is it just...
Insert photo here. He's been playing on our balcony in his play sink. So I don't think it's like a water thing.
Yeah.
I have no idea. We've tried baths, we've tried showers. Like both of our moms are like, well, have you tried this? And I'm like, yes, we've tried
I've tried everything. What about a different time of day?
No.
Maybe
it's
like...
just, we've tried it because when he got super muddy at the park, we tried a bath and same situation. So I don't know. I'm at a loss. One day last week, it wasn't so bad, but it was still like, it's still like stressful. Anyway, that's my
and we don't need any extra stress.
We don't.
So any bath tips out there, gladly will accept.
Please.
Ashton now is standing everywhere and like wants to stand by herself and gets upset when you want to help her, but then if you don't help her, she falls. But hard. Like I'm not like that mom that's like, don't fall. I'm like, you're gonna learn. But in the tub when she's like, it's no, like she's killing me in the tub right now.
Get one of the, we have it. It's it's like a giant flower.
Oh, I have the flower. Yes.
So maybe that.
And I use the flower. I'm just like,
it is like hard. I mean, it's porcelain. Are tubs made out of porcelain?
I don't know if they still are, but something like that. I think ours is fiberglass. It's not very nice.
I guess like the cloth that tubs are porcelain.
She's bougie. She has good taste. But anyways, my peak though is a good peak. So Ashton now, like I said, is almost 8 months and she's to the age where she is so in control. I mean, she's so in control and out of control of her body, but she's so in control that Kellen and I went to lunch one day. And she can completely sit in a high chair, like by herself without falling out the leg, like she's totally fine. And also she loves food. So like we went to a Greek restaurant and she had some rice. I think that's all she had there. But like, whatever's appropriate for her to eat, she loves it. And so now it's like a new level of hard. Mm-hmm. It doesn't get easier. It's just the hard things go away and new hard things come. Yeah. But the things that I enjoyed, also go away, but new enjoyable things come. So now it's this new thing of like, oh my gosh, it's not that she wasn't a part of our family when she was little, of course, but she's like a contributing part. Yeah. Does that make sense? Yeah. Where it's so fun to like hang out.
She's like at the table with you now.
She's at the table. She can I can eat because if you have to hold a baby or nurse a baby, like that's stressful because you're like, I might only have literally 17 seconds to like scarf as much as I can. But now it's like, oh, you can just sit there at a restaurant and, when in the moments that we do go, which aren't often, but that was like that made me feel good that I looked at her in a different way.
Yeah.
Like
it's fun.
I was like, you're not my baby anymore. And of course she's my baby, but you know what I mean? I'm like, you're definitely a far cry from a newborn.
Yeah.
It does go really fast. Exciting. So that was exciting.
My peak, it's kind of it was funny in the way that, I don't know if it's so much a peak, but it's definitely like a win. Zachariah eats pretty much anything, but today he specifically asked for broccoli for breakfast, which is weird because I don't like broccoli for breakfast. I know like some restaurants put it in omelets and I'm like, ew, that's disgusting to me. But he wouldn't let it go. I just thought maybe he saw it on like one of his meals. And so I was like, yeah, like you can have that later, but he wouldn't let it go.
He
kept saying broccoli. And I'm like, I don't want to waste it and like make this for you if you're not going to eat it. So I made it. I made him a couple of like giant florets of broccoli and he sat and ate pretty much all of it. And I was shocked because I'm like, it's breakfast. And I know.
Great source of calcium.
But he ate salad for dinner last night.
He's in a vegetable phase.
He is. I'm not gonna fight it. If he wants broccoli for breakfast, like
that's one thing that I always think is funny because I've seen it a few times, even with a friend of mine, where their little one will want something like healthy and they'll be like, no, and they'll push whatever like the kid food is. I'm like, no, like let them eat whatever they want. Yeah. Like I'm such a big proponent. Like if your kid wants to try sushi, give them some sushi. Or if they want to try like, something that you think is yucky, like why would they think it's yucky? Like let them try it. You know?
It was a win because last night we tried over and over to get him to eat corn and it did have kind of like a funky seasoning on it. So I got it, but he just had like this like gag reflex.
So that's
and
not
corn
fair.
isn't like the most nutritious. It was just it. I don't want to say like we lost the battle because he willingly tried to eat it multiple times, but he just like
It just wasn't for him.
He couldn't stomach it, which I get because I made the same face that he made last night. I make that same face with tomatoes, and I can't help it.
Yeah,
and I get it. Like it wasn't like he was trying. I don't know. Anyway. He wanted broccoli for breakfast.
He wasn't being picky. That just was not his preference.
Correct.
And that's totally fine.
So I don't know. He didn't really have well, no, he had salad for dinner. So I don't know. Anyway, broccoli for breakfast. If he wants that for the rest of his life, he can have it. Like if he's willingly eating vegetables. And it wasn't even good. It was like frozen broccoli. So it wasn't fresh. I mean, it still has the same nutrients, but I was just like, really? This is what you want? Okay.
You're like, okay, here you go. Well, good for him. With no cheese or anything on it?
I put Parmesan because I wouldn't want straight up steamed.
I like a little cheese on my broccoli. Yeah. That's for darn sure.
I don't like melty cheese, but like Parmesan I'm good with. Yeah.
I don't discriminate when it comes to cheese. So.
Just not on my broccoli. I don't know.
Give me any cheese and I'll be okay with it. But anyways. All right, shall we jump in?
Let's jump in.
Stay-at-home mom. Whoo.
Okay.
Well, let me ask you this. Did you want to be a stay-at-home mom growing up? Was that ever a dream? Was it ever a thought in your mind?
No. 0.
and here we are.
But I will say once you've had a kid, it changes. My mom was a stay-at-home mom up until I think like maybe 5th grade for me, somewhere around there. But I think when I got into high school, I just, like we all do, I think we have a plan for our lives that we think is going to happen. So I just always thought like my 20s are going to be this, like I'm going to be dating in my 20s. Like I thought I was going to have like I didn't even watch Sex and the City, but I thought like I was going to be like Sarah Jessica Parker and like have a career and date in my 20s. Yeah. And then like maybe in like my late 20s, even though like earlier I wanted to be married at like 22, 23. But once I got a little older teens, I thought, okay, if I don't get married at 22, then I'm going to move to New York, have a career, and maybe around 28, 29, settle down maybe, but still not have kids.
Yeah.
And then when I do have kids, I'll still like go to work, stay at home for 3 months. And then once my maternity leave is up, then go back to work. I am now a stay-at-home mom and I do love it, but I don't know if I can say that there are changes I would like to make, but it's definitely not what I thought it looked like when I remember my mom doing it. How about you?
So I think that it was always my dream. So I'm on the flip side of you in that I was like, that's all I want to do. It wasn't that I didn't have other dreams of things I wanted to do, but I was like, the ultimate dream is like, I want to be a stay-at-home mom. Like I want to be a wife and a mother and, all the things. That was modeled for me in a way that was very attractive and I liked it. I also really, really like taking care of people, I guess. So in that regard, I'm kind of like, oh, this is what I want to do with my life. Now being here, it's still what I want to do with my life, but it is very interesting how once you arrive at something, and I don't think this just goes for, motherhood or anything. I think it goes for literally across the board, any field, any sport, where it's like you reach something and then you're kind of like, oh, this is what it is. And it's not that it isn't special. Yeah. It's not that it isn't fulfilling, but I am someone who I think I just have really big expectations. Like, this is how it's going to feel when this happens. And now I'm here and it is the greatest thing. And I don't think I would change anything about it, if you can say that. But is it what I thought it was going to be? In some ways, yes. And in some ways, no. Yeah. Because when I dreamt about it, I didn't know who my husband was, like personality wise. And that plays a big part in that. My child, I didn't know what she was going to be like. I had this idea, but every idea in my head was me portraying all these other roles. So of course it all went so smoothly because it was me doing all of it. So it's interesting.
Yeah. I think I thought it would be easy to, even now, like I thought it would be easier to leave him and then like come home whenever and get on with like mothering. But I'm never not thinking about him.
Yeah, 100%.
So I can't imagine going to work even part-time. I think I would be okay more now than I was before, but it's just such a weird kind of like almost you want what you can't have, because there are lots of working moms that wish that they could stay home.
Totally.
And then there are lots of stay-at-home moms that wish they could be working. And then I feel like there are moms that are stay-at-home moms and they are 100% content. I can't say that I'm 100% content.
Yeah, I get that.
And I love it. I love being a stay-at-home mom, but I can't say that I am currently 100% fulfilled.
Yeah.
But I don't know what I don't know what that looks like.
Yeah. I completely agree, because that's one thing that I struggled with, a lot of guilt, because this was my dream. This is what I wanted, only to get here and be here and realize, oh, you know what? Like, if I'm 100% honest, I am not 100% fulfilled 24/7.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how to navigate that. I felt so much guilt about that, because I was like, this is my dream. And and then like, that little voice, that little devil voice that's like, oh, your family isn't enough. You don't appreciate them, or, you're selfish, or all these things. And I'm like, well, no, it's not that. And so I've just been praying even recently, like a lot about it. And like, God, why do I feel this way? Is it bad that I feel this way? And he's like, no, I created you with passions and desires and all of that. So as much as you were passionate about being a stay-at-home mom, you were also super passionate about fashion and super passionate about, like, you love to cook. Like, that's your favorite form of therapy, if you will, like, just to decompress. I'm passionate about a lot of things. So of course, and that's the way God made me. So of course, when one of those things is fulfilled, I'm not 100% fulfilled, because it's not like it checks every box, you know what I mean? And so, but it's definitely been an interesting thing to navigate, because that's one of the reasons why, like, we met up and we're like, what can we do? Because we need another outlet. Like, that's why we're sitting here in front of you, a big part of it. Like, if any of you are trying to like start a new project and whatnot, I think if our marriages or if our children started to suffer as a result of doing this, we would of course shut it down immediately, because the list of priorities are they're pretty set in place, and we never want those to be messed up. However, I will say for myself, doing things like this make me a better wife, and they make me a better mom, because they're for me. Yeah. And it's like that fine line of selfish, like good being selfish versus like being self-centered. Does that make sense?
Like, if I knew he wasn't being taken care of or was lacking in a certain way, then this would get put in the closet.
Bye.
Totally.
Yeah, like 100%.
We both want, in a perfect world, we both want to like DIY up the wazoo, right?
Totally. Projects galore. We're both very creative in that way. We're very similar.
Yeah. I cannot even see that happening in the near future, and even in the distant future. It could happen in 10 years, but I would say not even
the foreseeable future. When would that happen? We have no idea.
Not happening. Like, I built our headboard and made some nightstands and like would love to make a coffee table. And I love following these moms that can do it. And I wish that was my life. It's not. And I'm okay with that for now, but it is like something that I want to do.
It's an unscratched itch, and that it's like, it's still there. It's not debilitating. It's not like painful, but you're like, oh, like I want to scratch it, Like, I don't know what else to say.
So I can't say, it's not like, I don't feel unfulfilled currently, but it is just something, that's like, oh, like, I really want to do that. And I wish I had the time right now, but not so much that I'm willing to sacrifice other areas of my life.
100%.
Like, I already don't do the laundry enough. So
the funny thing is, I was just going to say, like, are there any, like, I guess maybe we could say, like, what we were talking before about how you can say the same word or the same job to two different people, and they if you said, okay, what does a stay-at-home mom do? You poll 100 people, you're going to get varying responses, because I know some people that are like, stay-at-home mom, just mom. Yeah. I don't take care of my husband. That's probably more the extreme. But then you have the ones that are full on the other side, like you were saying, which is, I am responsible for everything. My husband will bring in the income. Then I pay the bills, I do the cleaning, I take care of the babies, I do they do all the other jobs. And then I think I land somewhere in the middle, because when Kellen's home, he does help me a lot. But what, I guess I would ask you, and you don't even have to be specific about what your roles are, but did you, like, are there general roles that you thought, like, for being a stay-at-home mom, like, you thought being a stay-at-home mom consisted of that maybe you, or ones that you weren't expecting? Or are there any roles that you're like, oh, if I didn't have to do this, I'd be so much happier, like laundry or like anything else? Like,
yeah. My mom did everything. If my dad was home, like on the weekends, he would make dinner or breakfast or something. If I could outsource anything, shoot, I really just don't. Like, as far as like the roles of like being a housewife, I'm just not like, that's just not me. I don't hate laundry
like the
as
cooking
much.
and cleaning kind of thing, or
I don't see, like, you love to cook.
I do love to cook. But I don't have the time to cook. So it's almost like frustrating because when I say I like to cook, I mean, I'll throw things together. But when you have an 8-month-old, like, you don't get the full day to like make a full meal. So I kind of have to find quicker recipes. But I do enjoy it regardless.
I don't.
Which is totally fair.
At all.
I'm sure there are a lot of you out
Sometimes
there.
I do, but I mean, like, for the most part, it's just, I would rather I think I would, if I could outsource dinners or just food in general and have, like, not have like a chef, but if I could get like food delivered every day or even the majority of the week, like, that would be me. If we could go out to dinner like 4 times a week and then like be home 3 days, but also like have the food already made, like prepackaged. I feel like that would make my life, it would make my life so much easier. Yeah. Because I don't enjoy cooking it. I enjoy
is it the process of cooking it, or is it that in addition to the mental of like, what am I going to cook? Because that's something that's like, I think also goes into it where it's like, I don't mind putting the stuff together, but like, it's the whole process of like, what do I make? Yeah. And then what do I need to get to make it? And then what do I need? What appliances do I, you know what I mean? Like, what's the prep time? Like, there's a lot that goes into it. It's not an easy, like, cooking, especially like what you do, is not an easy thing. Like, you actually cook, which I commend you for. Because you're not saying like, oh, I just don't want to make a sandwich. No. She cooks like full-blown amazing meals.
I will say buying appliances that make you excited to cook or make you excited to do something really helps. Like, I love
Mrs. Air Fryer to my right.
I love my air fryer. I love my Instant Pot. So if I can find a meal that I can put into one of those appliances, like, I'm good. I enjoy that. I think it's the cooking and then the cleaning, like, after that. Maybe if I could just cook and I didn't have to worry about cleaning, that would be one thing. Yeah. I feel you. Dishes are just not my, I would rather, if I could outsource, like, if I could have someone that came to wash dishes after every single meal, then I think I might be okay. But yeah, I think it's like the housework that is nonstop. Yeah. When you're a kid, at some point, like, it gets done and it stops.
Yes,
but
100%.
When it's just like there's always laundry and there are always dishes and there's always a
things
mess
are just
somewhere.
Continuously rolling over.
Yeah,
it never ends.
It never ends.
And I'm sure because I've had people like, well, the laundry never ends. Just like saying it to say it. I'm not complaining. It's just like, haha, like, I'm on this hamster wheel. And there's always inevitably someone who's like, try having 6 kids. And I'm like, trust me, I am not like saying that my life is harder than yours at all. And I can't even imagine that. Thank the Lord we only had 1 to start. And so we're building on that. But yeah, it really is like, and that's another thing though, is I'm like, wow, even with 1, geez, 2, 3, you know, like.
And the tiny clothes, they're so cute, but they are so much harder and so much more like tedious.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. No, they are tedious to fold. They're 100% tedious. It's almost like, what's the point? Like, it's one fold and it's done, but then also you're like, you can't just throw it into the closet. I mean, you could, but sincerely, I actually have a couple like of the little IKEA. They're not bins, but they're like the drawer organizers. They kind of pop up. And so like onesies and stuff, there are some things that I'm like, you're just going in the box essentially, like, and I'll just dig for what I want because it doesn't make sense to fold it. It's satisfying for 2 days. That's a lie. 2 hours until you need to get something. And then it just doesn't happen. But yeah.
What surprised you the most about like being a stay-at-home mom that you weren't expecting and it was just kind of like a hold up?
Yeah. I think one of, I guess the 2 things. One is it was way lonelier than I thought. because, and it kind of goes into, and I didn't know I would miss my freedom so much. I didn't know I had so much freedom until I didn't have it.
That's the one thing I tell people. I'm like, if you can go to Target and just get in and out of the car by yourself, go. Just do it. Buy yourself a Starbucks, walk around. You don't have to buy anything. Just like enjoy. If you're pregnant and just go. Just go do something by yourself.
For us. I miss when Ashton was in my belly. But it's true. Like that was a surprising thing because I was aware. It's not like I didn't want to do it. And then I found myself in this position and I was like, ugh, this is hard to deal with. It was like, oh, I'm so excited. This is going to be awesome. It's going to be me and my baby and then my husband on the weekends or whatever. But then I got here. And again, I want to really explicitly express that this is not how I feel even majority of the time. But for the minority, those are still, it surprised me to be like, wow, I'm super lonely today. And I think what it is I am more of an introvert and I am fine being on when I can look forward to the deadline or the expiration date of like, okay, I can turn off now. Like that is how I thrive. And that is like my reward system is, okay, you're going to be on, you're going to like do all the things. And then it's like, if it was at work, for example, I'm like, this is going to be the longest day. You're going to work 16 hours. But when I get home, I can turn off and I can just do anything. I can go to bed. I can just sit. I can put on sweats and order Taco Bell. Like I can do anything I want. And then that was the thing I wasn't quite expecting was when now I have this little person plus all my other duties as a wife, you know, and I say that fondly. They're not like, oh, my husband makes me do stuff. Like I want to do these things. I'm so proud to, but it is like, it's hard for me. And it was surprising to be like, oh, when you have a baby, like you never get to turn off. Yeah. Like even when she's sleeping, I'm on because I'm aware that she's sleeping in the next room. I'm checking the monitor just to be safe, like not out of fear, anxiety.
I mean, my son was up at 1:30 in the morning the other day and I'm like, I can't go to sleep knowing you're awake when you should be asleep.
Like, what is going on? Are you okay? Like what's happening? So yeah, that was definitely, it's still,
I think that's like the number one thing about other stay-at-home moms. They say that they're lonely. I was surprised and I had multiple breakdowns. Like, you know, Ian gets to go to work and you get to go out and see other people. And if you are a working mom, you get to go out and you get to drive and have alone time while driving, whatever your commute is. I had another friend that said like her husband was complaining about his 2-hour commute. And she's like, you get 2 hours in the car? Yeah. And so it's just like things like that you don't realize when you are a stay-at-home mom. Yeah. I mean, now like we definitely go out and go to the park, but I mean, before he was of like walking age, like it's not fun and he can't really do anything. Even if they're crawling, it's a little bit different. You can go to the park and do things like that. But before that, it's like, we're going to go to the park and like, I'm going to swing. It's just when you don't get to go out and see anyone, and if you don't have friends that have babies, like no one's really thinking about you in that sense. Like I think they're just thinking like, oh, you have a baby, like you're busy, and it's like I'm busy, but I don't get to talk to anyone.
Yeah. I just want to circle back. I'm an introvert, and I now love having adult conversations, which before I would avoid at all costs. I'm like, I don't want to talk to you, and now I'm like, hey, it's either one or the other. I want the adult conversation, you know, sometimes at least. But it is interesting because you said that about like, well, you know, Ian gets to go to work. And it's the same thing. Like I felt the same way with Kellen because he'll travel for work. And I'm like, oh, like you got to go on an airplane and like you got to like stay in a hotel and you got to do this. But at the same time, you know, it's just different sides of a coin because like on the other hand, he's, you know, he'll say, yeah, but you get to like get up. And if you want to, like, you don't have to perform for anyone, which I get. Like, you don't have to, because he's looking at it from the other side, which is like, but you don't have to talk to anyone. Like, you can just, like, play with our baby and get giggles and smiles.
You're like, I want to talk to someone, just like, one person.
So that's when it's like, gosh, wouldn't it be nice to, like, flip, like, to just, like enter each other's world because, you know, there are things that, like, kind of get deficient in both of us that are opposite, right? And it would be nice if, like, when you became one as a married couple, if you could really, like, swap each other's body. Well, that's a whole nother conversation because Kellen and I talk about that. He's like, if you could come into my body, he's like, I don't know. I think I'm a little too crazy for you. I'm like, I don't know. I have some pretty like weird stuff that goes, whatever.
I think it's just the grass is greener on the other side kind of a moment.
Yeah, it's deception at the end of the day because you have a grace for where you're at currently. And it's when we start entertaining the idea of, oh, like you said, the grass is greener, that would be better. I feel like it can be a slippery slope. And you can end up somewhere that you're like, well, shoot, I didn't mean to be here.
I think in a perfect world, if we could do what we're doing, I mean, if like we love this because we get to have adult conversation however many times a week we meet in the studio. But if like we could do this and then like also maybe like once or twice a week, like go to a girls' dinner, like with other girlfriends and just like, just like little tiny breaks. Like I don't need every once in a while I do need like a full day of a break. Not necessarily like from Zach, but just like sometimes I just want like a day where I'm like, I don't want to do anything. I don't feel like momming today. I don't want to clean the house. I don't want to do this. But then it's like sometimes I wish I could just like have a day where I'm like, okay, like he's got to go so I can like do all of the things and then sit and watch crime shows for an hour or two.
That's the other thing is like I don't play certain things. I don't play hardly anything around Ashton because she's such a sponge. So I'm super, super protective. So even in that, I think a lot of people think of the things that you like to do alone or the ways that you kind of have your adult content, if you will, whether it's a conversation or a TV show or a podcast. And then I'm not pushing this on anyone else. I choose to. I feel like God has been really clear with me. I choose not to do those things around her. So in that, it's a lot of Salty the Singing Songbook, circa like the 80s. Anyone out there? We watched it when we were kids. She loves it. It's like anything that's like kiddie songs. Yeah. She loves. And that's fine. I mean, I know all of them now. But I don't, like, I would love to hear an interview with like a grown-up or I would love to watch a show, that's not even bad, but that's just adult content that's not appropriate for her. So,
which is like, I think, and I know I'm not alone because there are other moms that I'm texting at like 12:30 at night. It's like, this is the only time and Ian doesn't get this all the time. He's like, why do you stay up so late? I'm like, because I'm not needed. I'm not needed by you. I'm not needed by Zach. Like I can just be alone with my thoughts, like watch what I want to watch, eat what I want to eat, and just kind of like decompress and like have a moment to think. I'm still like thinking about like, okay, what do I have to do tomorrow? Like what can I do something right now? Like, can I prep for tomorrow in any way? So it's not like I'm completely like off, but it's just like, I get like a little bit of quiet time.
I get that. I 100% get that. I truly, those are the moments that like get me through my days sometimes, which is just, and some days are great and you're like, oh, I don't actually feel like I need it. But whether it's at night when she goes to bed for a couple hours or if I wake up early the next morning, I need that time at some, I need that time at some point in my day because it really does. I feel like it fills my little energy. Like it's like plugging your iPhone in the wall. It like gives me a little charge and then I can like carry out my duties the rest of the day.
What is as we're wrapping this up, what is like your form? I personally don't like the word self-care, like shoot me, but I don't.
It's kind of so, it's like a trend now, which has taken away, I feel like, the weight of it, which is really important to like take care of yourself.
What do you do that like allows you to like, that I don't want to say selfish, but that's like, oh, this is for me.
I've had to I feel like everyone says that. I've had to get good at this or I'm practicing. It's so funny because it depends. So I used to think for me, self-care was just like, because I love baths. And so I used to think like, oh, that's my form of self-care exclusively. So Kellen would always be like, hey, do you want an hour to take a bath? And yes, that is the case. But what I have really discovered in the last few months is, yes, there is relaxing self-care, which I do love. And sometimes that's needed. But sometimes the self-care that I need is like we talked about at the beginning. What am I passionate about and how can I fuel those passions? So it's like relaxing sometimes is not, even though I'm exhausted, isn't the best form of self-care for me. Sometimes it's coming into this very room and sitting down and like brainstorming or
like doing something that you are proud of.
Doing something I'm proud of or I'm contributing to the world or that just like is who God created me to be. So maybe it's just like, ooh, I just want to, no one will see them, but I just want to like put on 10 outfits and like, just put things together because I don't have uninterrupted time to do that. But to me, I'm like, oh, you're kind of painting with clothes. You're like putting things together.
Yeah.
It like tickles my brain in a good way. So I think for me, I have really had to like look deep within myself. And if I'm exhausted, ask myself, do you just need chill time where you watch some TV or you take a bubble bath or you just don't, where you do nothing productive? Or do you just need time to do something that fuels like who you were created to be, which is like my creative side.
Yeah, that's good.
So
I was just going to say, I like to paint my nails and watch.
But that's creative too, though. Like, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Sometimes I won't do that thing. Because sometimes I need to just do nothing.
Yeah.
But sometimes doing nothing is also doing nothing for you.
Correct.
And sometimes, like, by painting your nails, you just did something for yourself. Not everyone will like that, but I enjoy it. And so it is like...
It's like decompressing and I have to focus on something.
Yeah.
I do love getting my nails done. Like, if any of you work for a nail salon and want to sponsor a video or just like treat us.
Invite Liesland for a mani-pedi.
But I do love, there is something about like sitting and focusing and like looking at my handiwork, which I guess is like a DIY. Like I DIY my nails.
I think that's it. Is sometimes I'm a very visual person. That gives me so much to see visually something get done. So I guess that's the other thing. Like I love to organize. So sometimes it's like, do I need to just chill and take a bath? Do I need to take a nap? Or do I need to like do something for me as in like organize the linen closet, because that visual progress will like make me feel good.
Yeah.
So
it's like,
yeah, I love that. What do you guys do for self-care? How many kids do you have? What are their ages? And what are your self-care like go-tos? I'd love to know. Because sometimes like you hear someone else and you're like, ooh, I want to try that. Or that's such a good idea.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, you gave a good response for what you do for self-care, because I didn't even think about it like that. I'm like, this is just something I like. Like, this is something I like to do.
Yeah.
And I guess it is like using your definition, it is a form of self-care. So
yeah,
I guess we do have a couple things.
Yeah, we do. All right.
Quote.
Oh my gosh, you guys, I have a quote.
And if I could get through a video without hitting the table one of these days, it would be great.
Maybe we'll have another table that's like padded or something. Like leather wrapped, like ESPN. Okay, where are my saved ones? Where are my saved posts at? Should I be a rapper? What should my mom rap name be? I'm going to be like Mama B. You guys, I told you, I'm having a day. Okay, this is the quote. The sad thing is I can't really read. I think it's by Emma Heaphy? Heaphy? Mama, you are literally forming a childhood right now. You are making memories that will carry for a lifetime. You are keeping memories that they may not remember. And when they get older, all of your often invisible work will become seen. As you share their childhood memories over family dinners with them, their partners, and your grandchildren. As you immerse yourself in the joy everyone gets from reliving memories you played a large part in creating, it will become clear to all. It started with you.
That's true.
It is crazy when you think about it. Like, I am forming, because you think of your childhood and then you're like, I'm doing that for another
like
human
your mom
being.
was always there, like in the memories as a kid.
Yeah. It's so crazy. And I want my daughter to grow up and be like, I had a great childhood.
Yeah.
So, anyways, thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it. If you guys are stay-at-home moms, let us know. We see you. You're doing a great job. You're crushing it.
And if you're a working mom, we see you too. You're crushing it.
You're also crushing it.
Like, comment, subscribe, share, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye. Do you want to? You do the intro. I'm having a hard time right now talking.
Sorry.
I had a big cry last night. I was like, oh, so now today I'm like, get it together.
It's okay. I cried last afternoon. If I can't talk either.
Last afternoon.
It's been a lot of crying. It's been a lot of crying lately.
We could just cry on camera for 30 minutes.
People will never.
Give me a loud hey.
Hey.
It's not a loud hey. Give me like a hey.
I didn't say it because I thought you were gonna come through and then
All right, let's do it.
Hey guys, welcome back. It hasn't been a long time for you, but it's been a long time since we've been.
I was looking down, studying so hard, and you said hi. I'm like, we're starting. My face.
I do that to him all the time.
No,
I couldn't see.
I should have been ready. I'm sorry. It was like okay. Go ahead, I'm ready. I can't do that. My arm jiggles.
I just gotta flex them.
Oh man.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. Do you need a napkin? Does the table need a napkin? Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Oh man.
Okay.
I'm Liesel.
I'm Brittany.
And we're great. We're great today. Sorry guys. We're gonna get through this.
We are.
Ashton is 7 months.
Yeah, she's almost 8 months old now.
We've got a lot of experience.
Tons.
So much. With our one child. With our